What's up, everybody? I am sitting in line at Costco gas, and everybody loves Costco gas because it's like 60 cents cheaper here, so it's worth the wait. The bumper stick in front of me says Hope Dealer, and I think that's probably one of the pastors in one of the pastors groups that my pastor is part of, but I think that's pretty cool. Hope Dealer. Be a hope dealer. All right. We're talking about two mantras that I've been thinking about lately. I'm not sure what I think of the word mantra, but two sayings that I really want to implement more in my life. And these are important. Context is so important. But anyway, I'm going to just share these two sayings. The first one is, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I have the tendency to get mad, upset, angry over dumb things. And Viktor Frankl, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, says something along the lines of, there's one thing that exists between stimulus and response, and that's your choice. And I think that's a really good word right there, is that whenever there's something that triggers us, we have the choice of how to respond, and that's solely our own ownership. A lot of times we think that we only have, whatever our response is, that's what we think was automatic, but we have a choice whether we respond that way or not. And so I spend way too much time getting frustrated over really dumb things. And so what I've been trying to implement recently is taking that time to make that choice and say this thing out loud. If I'm getting frustrated at something and it's not a big deal and it's dumb, why do I let that ruin my day, right? And then when you let that ruin your day, you start ruining other people's days as well. So the one thing that I've been trying to implement and saying, and I definitely want to carry this into 2020, is it's not a big deal. It is not a big deal. So as soon as I, start that blood pressure boiling and everything because something happened not the way you wanted it to go, and it's just like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. So that's something that I'm implementing as a new saying. In that context. And obviously context is important here because there are things that are a big deal and that we need to take seriously, but I'm specifically talking about the things here that are not a big deal and don't elicit my emotional response to be over the top. So it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. That's what I'm trying to implement more. The second thing is I'm not in a hurry. I love efficiency, man. I love making the most of my time and momentum. I feel good when I'm just getting after it and making good progress. And so a lot of times the things that I need to, that I get frustrated at, that I need to say it's not a big deal, are the things that slow down any momentum. And so that's something that's super important that I'm trying to implement, as well as, hey, I'm not in a hurry. Right now, I am standing in line. Let me just show you this Costco line. But you know what? I'm not in a hurry, so it's all good. Here it is. Costco gasoline. So many cars here. But yeah, here it is, man. I am not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry. Not in a hurry at all. I just finished cleaning, and I'm not in a hurry. So I'm just hanging out here, and I'm recording a Facebook Live and sharing with you guys my thoughts. So those are my two thoughts, my two sayings, my two mantras, if you will, that I really want to be implementing even more. And hopefully these two things completely transform me. I'm realizing so much that mindset and what happens in the mind is where the battles are won or lost, I think, in life. And so I don't want to be stressed out. Stress is not fun. Being stressed out is not good for you, and it's not good for the people around you. You create a nasty, gnarly atmosphere if you're stressed out. And so I don't. I want to be unaffected. I was talking with a friend about this morning too. Jocko Willink, who's a Navy SEAL. I listen to his podcast from time to time. I read his book this year, Extreme Ownership. And he just talked about when he got on the radio during a firefight, he always just made sure that his tone was clear, concise, and calm. He just made sure that he was calm, because as soon as you start getting frantic on the radio, it just messes up all communication and everything like that. So I want to be that type of person. I want to be that type of leader. There are a lot of times where it feels frantic, and you as a leader, I think, are required to stay calm and make sure that you realize that when things are getting frustrating, it's not a big deal. And secondly, that you're not in a hurry. So a lot of times when we feel rushed is when we start doing dumb things anyway. And so it's just like, hey, I'm not in a hurry. It's better for me to just take my time to do this thing, whatever it is. And I'm probably going to do it better than if I'm super frantic and feeling overwhelmed. The two sayings, it's not that big of a deal, and I'm not in a hurry. And obviously, contextually, those are four things that fit. There are times where it's just like, hey guys, we got to amp this up, we got to get it done. And there are things that are super important, but I want to save my emotional energy for those things that are actually important. And so when it's go time and when it's time to really put extreme value and energy into things, like let's go, let's do those things. But for everything else on the daily, let's not worry about those things and let's not get worked up. But something else that I really want to grow in as we're approaching 2020, how do you not let things, like what's a tangible saying that you have to yourself or a physical act, I don't know, what's your strategy with not letting things bother you? So somebody will say something offhand and maybe I'm just even misinterpreting it wrong. So I really need to grow in assuming the best about what people say, but I'll let something just mull in my mind and stew, and I'll let it ruin my day, which is just not and stew on it. So I think the answer is probably just straight up self-control. Don't let those things ruin your day. Think about that thing when you start dwelling on it. Be like, nah, I'm about it. Not thinking about it. I'm gonna assume the best, or that person